Hey there, Internet marketers. It's Ryan Perry, Simple Biz Support. Today is Wednesday, February 3rd, and this is Sarah and I's first episode on Blab. And we are internet marketing, digital marketing people that really love social media. And so every Wednesday, we do a live 15-minute show where all we do is talk about social media. Sarah and I actually have two different businesses. I'm with Simple Biz Support. Sarah is with Pravaro Marketing. We are both digital marketing agencies. However, we work together. And the reason why we work together is because we both wear blue because we love the Dodgers. And actually, that was actually just an accident that we wore blue today. However, Sarah did say earlier that hers is a true Dodger blue.
Yours looks like it is too. It's just my lighting is terrible today, and so it doesn't quite come through as the right royal blue. But in real life, it is Dodger blue.
All right, very good.
Better if I was in the office today.
Yeah. So every week we're going to be talking about social media, maybe Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. And the idea is that as somebody who's interested in using social media to grow their business, we'll be able to give you a nugget or two of information every week. And if you implement that little nugget of information that typically isn't that difficult to do, your social media experience should get that much better. And so every week you're progressively getting better. And over the course of time, ideally, your marketing online is going to be that much better over time. That's really what our goal is with this show. And speaking of shows, Sarah, today we're going to talk about Facebook audience and how to create a persona. And this one is really important. I think it's important not just with Facebook, but marketing in general, because so many people don't really understand the importance of understanding who it really is that you're marketing to. I mean, some companies go so far and draw a picture of, hey, this is, Joe that we want to sell to, or Jane, or even the family with the pet and what car they drive, the whole 9 yards.
Right. And audience personas, a lot of small business owners don't know where to start. They don't know how to create this. And they often waste marketing dollars because they don't truly understand who they're marketing to. We know bigger businesses spend a big portion and percentage of their marketing budget digging into who their customers are, who their buyer personas are, and they spend the money but small businesses don't have this kind of money. They don't have this kind of budget or bandwidth to do it. They don't have access to the big data because they don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend every year to figure out who their customers are. And so here we enter in Facebook audience insights in order for small businesses to be able to figure out, based on their service or product, build a persona around who their target audience is, because it also isn't, most business owners think they have an idea of who their audience is, but until you dig into some of the data, you might be surprised, it might be a little off the mark. So using the data in Facebook, which is free, it's free to mine it, free to figure it out, a small business owner can at least get a better idea of who their audience and who their buyer persona is. And they can utilize that for not only their Facebook marketing, but any other social media or online marketing or traditional marketing. It may change how they're doing things, where they show up, because they may have been marketing towards an audience, say 40 plus, and they're in an area for that, but their audience really is in their 30s and they're showing up somewhere else. So all small business owners should have some sort of a persona to market to.
Right. And you brought up other, I'm thinking of Twitter for some reason right now, but realize that when you create this marketing persona, that it may be slightly different on Facebook versus Twitter. So your message, even though your persona is going to be very similar, simply because there are different types of people on different types of social media, you want to make sure that you're tweaking your message for those individual markets and what people are expecting. When I go on LinkedIn, I expect a certain level of conversation versus what I get on Facebook versus Instagram, where it's hashtag hell. And that's all you're going to get.
Right. But also you might have more than one persona, and you can build those, and you should advertise to them differently. You're going to advertise you might do different images in an advertisement to women and women of a certain age. You have different ones within each generation and age gaps, and have a completely different message and picture for men. So that's where the personas really happen. And online marketing, you can laser target each individual piece of your target market and have a higher success rate.
Okay, perfect. So let's talk about Facebook then. If I want to better understand who I should be marketing to, who's following me on Facebook, where do I do, or where do I go, and what do I do?
So you don't need an ad account on Facebook to do this. You just need a profile. If you just Google Facebook Audience Insights, you'll get right to it. It is facebook.com/ads/audience_insights. And let me see. I don't know if I can do a screen share since we are new at this.
I don't believe that's an option on this, unfortunately.
That is a bummer.
If you do get excited, though, you can share the URL in the bottom right-hand corner where it says send a message.
Ah, yes. So let's see. So here's the link.
This is our first show, so gotta be patient with us.
Yeah, it would be great if I could switch to a screen share.
The link you shared has an account attached to it, just as an FYI.
Well,
age equals 18 in the United States.
Well, so
you're not checking out 18-year-old boys, are you?
I haven't done anything, so right now it's just default to everyone 18 plus.
Oh, okay.
So because I was hoping to screen share, so I left it on the very first screen. But I guess that isn't an option. So
that is going to, it's going to kind of blow it for us, unfortunately. It's the learning curve. Normally we do this on Hangouts, on Google Hangouts, and we're able to do screen shares and whatnot. And there's no way of really testing Blab in a, you can't just like do a demo. You have to just go live and screw it up and figure it out. So here we are going live, screwing it up, figuring it out. Maybe you could articulate what this fancy screen is showing you, or you could just grab your webcam, flip it around, stick it on.
So first off, you have two options. You can do either mine the data from everyone on Facebook or people connected to your page. Both have pros and cons. The people connected to your page, you can get information from them and see who is showing up already and then mimic that in creating the persona. Or you can look at it and go, oh my God, these are not the right people. And so it'll help you start from scratch on your persona. And so you may want to start if you've never really looked at your insights, you have no idea who is on your audience, then you might want to start with that. Do that persona first to see if the people that are already following your page are the correct people. Then you go into all people on Facebook and you can start dialing in there. You can start with just an interest. So you keep with the running theme, type in running, see what pops up, like what the percentages are, male to female, what the different age brackets are. Then you can, from there, dial it in. So say possibly, the biggest group of people are women 25 to 34. Then you can, from that, select that as part of your demographic. So it's women 25 to 34, interested in running, and they can start putting other things in. Are they married? Do they have children? Do they have college degrees? What's their household income, their home ownership? And you can add and remove a lot of the demographics and the information to see if there is enough of an audience with the information you put in there to target. And you can save this persona and use it in your Facebook advertising. You can utilize it in other forms of advertising because you now have someone you're targeting.
Right. And what's really nice about that is once you have that information is that those are just the people that you're going to actually put ads in front of. So people talk about ROI when it comes to social media. If you're going to use paid ads, then you really want to make sure that you're spending that money where people, in front of the audience that you want to spend money in front of. If you're trying to sell the best champagne in the world and you're putting ads on NASCAR on Sunday, you may not be targeting the right audience, and therefore your ad spend, you'll probably sell some champagne, but it's not going to be nearly as much as the local polo game where you have a lot of influential people that probably drink more champagne than the guys at NASCAR do.
Right. One of my favorite stories is it was probably about a year or two ago. I was starting to get served ads for a toy store in San Francisco. So for those of you that don't know, I live an hour north of San Francisco, and my daughter at the time was about 18 years old. I am not going to be shopping at a toy store in San Francisco, and so it's if they had done something like a buyer persona, I would not have shown up. They just blanket targeted women in a certain age group, and you can, when you do advertising, you can go after moms with children in a certain age range. So I wouldn't have shown up in that. You can do moms with toddlers, with babies, with elementary school. And so if they had done just that one extra step, I wouldn't have been served these ads, which were annoying to me. I mean, I found it funny because I knew where they had screwed up. But for other people who have never heard of you, if you want to be in front of them, you want to make sure you're in front of the people who will care. And because you don't want to irritate people. And so by being specific in who your ads are targeting, especially if you have a product geared towards women and or men, or just one of the genders, you don't want the other gender to see it because it's not relevant. You're wasting your money and time, and you run the risk of bothering them. So that's another reason why this is so important, is to make sure you've got your target market correct. And this audience persona will really help you make sure that you're doing that correctly.
Okay. A little off topic, but Search Talk Live has been following us for a while now. Thank you very much for following our first Blab. And they have a question about growing an audience from Facebook for people that don't know their brand with zero budget. So they want to grow it organically. And one of the quick things I sent out, and I'm not sure typing it out if it made much sense, was get in front of those industry leaders who have your target persona. As an example, Mari Smith, for social media, Facebook specifically, Mari Smith is an industry leader. She is a thought leader when it comes to social media and Facebook. And so if I can get in front of her audience, that's going to create visibility for me. And we already know it's a targeted audience to some degree because it's relative to Facebook and marketing. Her specific persona may be a little bit off, but at least I'm stepping forward into the right direction. So do you have any quick insights on how somebody might get in front of a thought leader's audience?
Right. So you need to identify who they are. I remember when Mari Smith followed me back on Twitter, it was one of those like, woohoo, I did this right. Because what you do, you want to first identify them. You don't reach out to them and be like, hey, can you advertise me in front of your audience? Because they're never going to do that. How you do it is you share their content. You interact with their content. So we'll stay with Mari Smith since you used her. I would share her blog posts on my Twitter feed. And I would tag her. So she knew I was sharing her content. I would retweet her stuff. I would interact with her on Twitter. I would do the same thing on Facebook. I would comment, interact with it as my business, not as me. So I'm in a roundabout way getting exposure because I'm commenting on there as my business name. So my business name is getting some exposure. If she starts seeing me pop up more and more and more, and that's kind of what happened was after a while, they followed me back on Twitter, which, she follows a million people, but they don't just randomly follow, the thought leaders don't just randomly follow anybody that follows them. So I would say interact with them in a way to promote them. So promote their content to your followers, interact with them thoughtfully. And over time, because social media is meant to be social, so over time you can build a rapport and have a relationship with them till you get to the point where you can possibly say, hey, can we cross promote each other? How can I help you? And usually it's that kind of that giver's gain, that it's the B&I philosophy, which we're both in, but it's that giver's gain. If I can help you, you're going to be compelled to help me. And so utilize that in social media. Just don't be a tiger pouncing on them and trying to force them to promote you, because they're not going to do it. And you might get yourself blocked and it'll look bad. So hopefully that helps answer your question, Search Talk Live, so that you can do it with zero budget. You can also do it on Facebook. You can do it with a very small budget too, boosting posts. You can do a boosted post of content that you've done to a targeted audience, and spend $5. So it's not a huge budget. And yes, it's more than zero, but at least it'll get you in front of, you could go from being, organically in front of 50 people to a couple thousand people for just $5, depending on who your target audience is when you do that.
Yeah. And then I also want to expand a little bit on the whole thought leader interacting with thought leaders. If they're thought leaders, then they are also going to be, they should be at the top of the game, which means typically pretty smart. They know what's going on. They know what works. They understand bullshit when they see it. So if you're just going to respond, oh, great article. Oh, thanks for sharing. You're really not adding any value to their circle. Now, if you want to respond with your insights, and they don't have to match, you can disagree with somebody and say, hey, you know what? I value what you said. However, I feel that this is really the way it should be. And by giving quality, adding quality, and that's really the key, because we're in such a fast-paced society, people just want to blow out, oh, that was great, follow me. It doesn't work that way. We don't build relationships. I love Mickey's analogy of when you're trying to build a relationship, think about it as an actual somebody you'd want to marry at some point. Are you just going to take them out on one date and then go get married? No, you're going to have to invest some time.
Unless you're drunk in Vegas.
I've seen that movie. But you have to invest the time and energy in building that quality relationship. They are a thought leader for a reason. It's because they provide quality information and they really should know their stuff. And so that means you really have to bring your A game when you're engaging with people, and it needs to be selfless, that giver's gain philosophy that you were talking about earlier. It can't be, oh, look at my business, I'm so smart. It's really, you know what, Mari, that was great insight. I've never thought about doing X, Y, and Z that way, and it shed a new light on the way I'm going to do business. And then follow up, a couple weeks later or a month later with, hey, when you did that blog post back in January, I made a shift in the way I manage my business, and these are the results that I have, and I'm really thankful for it. I really appreciate the quality of information that you provide. Oh, wow. That's somebody I want to learn more about. And it's social. So many people get hung up on this whole digital thing. We're still people. At the end of the day, regardless if you can see me because we're on Blab or you don't see me because I post something on Facebook, we're still people. And the way you come across on digital is going to affect whether or not I want to engage with you. So I have no idea, because we started a little bit late, where we're at on time, but I think we're done for this week's episode on Blab. Search Talk Live, I appreciate you joining us. I hope you found some information that was helpful. And I guess that's it.
Another place that you can build the relationships are finding people with complementary businesses that are not direct competitors, although we defeat that one. But the complementary businesses who are in front of the same audience as you are, and building relationships with them as well. Yep. Especially if you're a local business, you can find something like, we're internet marketers. One of our biggest referral partners are graphic designers. We complement each other because I don't want to do graphic design and they don't want to do online marketing. But we're in front of the same target audience. We're both working with small and medium-sized businesses, technically usually local to our area, but we work throughout the country. So look for businesses like that complement yours, and they're dealing with the same target audience as you are, and build a relationship with them as well.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Well, that's going to be it for today's show. We will be back on Blab. We're gonna give this a test. We're seeing some issues like the screen share, but we're going to give this a try again. I love the being able to interact with people, such as Search Talk Live. And I'm looking forward to the time when somebody actually gets in a seat and starts interacting with us. So I like the foundation so far, and being able to see both of us on the screen at the same time, I think is pretty cool. Where on Google Hangouts, it's just who's ever talking shows up and that's it. So we'll figure it out, but we'll be here next week. Every Wednesday, 9:45 Pacific Standard Time is Social Media Wednesday. We'll just be talking about social media topics. And again, giving you an opportunity, or not an opportunity, it's an opportunity, but really nuggets of information to improve your social media. Sarah, you got anything to add to our first Blab?
I don't.
All right, perfect. With that, I will bid you adieu, and I have no idea how to turn this thing off. So I'm going to pause